the beauty held within this community, let us offer one another a gesture of holy hospitality. You're invited to share a moment with the folks around you. Extend a hand in peace, offer a hug, or perhaps a word of welcome. As a practice of consent, if you would prefer not to engage in this ritual, simply place your hand over your heart and folks will honor your choice. And now please turn to the person to your left or right and briefly greet your neighbor. How quick y'all got quiet. Our chalice lighting this morning, hurry before the thing goes out, is by Christine Robinson. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning in celebration of life that we share together. Thank you. Our reading this morning is from Robert Frost. It's the poem, The Road Not Taken. Two roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveler long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for that the passing there had warned them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first one another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. Two roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less traveled, and that has made all the difference. Our celebration hymn is number 335, Once My Heart Was Passion Free. And this is a new one, I think. We've never done this before because we're throwing curveballs everywhere today. So Dan, can you help?
Tyke's gonna help. He's gonna play.
Who's gonna play? Can you? All right, number 335. Please rise as you are able. It's time now for our story for all ages. After this one, it's on the front and back. So.
Perfect. Thank you. Good morning. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes? All right. So our story this morning is Lily's Memory, and the author is unknown. Once upon a time, in a small village nestled in the heart of a lush forest, there lived a young girl named Lily. She was known throughout the village for her bright smile and her kind heart. But there was one thing that set her apart from the others. She had a remarkable memory. Lily could remember every detail of every moment she had ever experienced. She could recall the scent of the flowers that bloomed in the spring, the sound of the leaves rustling in the wind, and the taste of the sweet berries that grew in the forest. Her memory was so sharp that she could even remember things that had happened when she was just a baby. One day, as Lily was walking through the forest, she stumbled upon an old man sitting by a stream. He looked sad and lost, and Lily could tell that something was troubling him. "Hello, sir," she said, approaching him. "Is everything all right?" The old man looked up at her, his eyes filled with tears. "I'm afraid not, young lady," he said. "I've lost something very important to me. My memory. I can't remember anything from my past, and it's left me feeling lost and alone." Lily felt a pang of sympathy for the old man. She knew how important memories were, and she couldn't imagine what it would be like to lose them. "Perhaps I can help," she said, offering him a smile. "I have a very good memory. Maybe I can help you remember something." The old man looked at her skeptically, but Lily was determined to help him. She sat down beside him and began to ask him questions about his life. She asked him about his childhood, his family, and his friends. She asked him about his favorite memories and the things that made him happy. As they talked, the old man began to remember things. He remembered the sound of his mother's voice, the smell of his grandmother's cooking, and the feel of the sun on his face. He remembered the people he had loved and the places he had been. And as he remembered, he began to smile. "Thank you, young lady," he said, his eyes shining with gratitude. "You've helped me remember things that I thought were lost forever. You truly have a remarkable memory." Lily smiled back at him, feeling happy that she had been able to help. She knew that memories were precious, and she was glad that she could share hers with others. From that day on, Lily made it her mission to help others remember their past. She would sit with the elderly in the village and listen to their stories, helping them remember the things that had made their lives special. She would help children remember the joy of their childhood, and she would help her friends remember the moments that had brought them together. And as she helped others remember, Lily realized that memories were not just important for the past, they were important for the present and the future as well. They were, they were what made life worth living, and they were what connected us to each other. Years went by and Lily grew old, but even as her memory began to fade, she never forgot the importance of memories. She knew that they would live on in the hearts of those she had helped, and that they would continue to bring joy and happiness to the world. And so, as she closed her eyes for the final time, Lily smiled knowing that her memory would live on in the memories of others. Thank you.
Our offering this month, we changed that too. We decided to go for the Miss Health Food Bank because they actually supply the food pantries in North Mississippi. I think our original share of the plate was the firefighters, but we can give to the firefighters anytime, and SNAP benefits went out on November 1st for a lot of people. So we changed it to the Mid-South Food Bank to keep it in our region and help as many people as possible. Half of our donation goes to fund the building and services, and then the other half goes to our recipient. So please give as you are able. You can just sit there. Now let us enter the ritual like the one before us to share what is on our hearts and lay it at the altar of community and spirit, using a pebble dropped in the bowl of water to symbolize the ripple effect of the events of our lives upon the larger community. We will now share the grief, gratitude, and moments of growth that have touched our lives since we were last together. Pebbles. Pebble girl. Our first pebble is one of gratitude for our visitors and friends. We offer a warm welcome to you, and we are so happy you're here with us today. Our second pebble is one of grief for people suffering from the actions of the current political administration, and our hearts go out to people everywhere who have had their lives altered due to war, violence, and hate. Our next one is for gratitude. It's from Mary Caha. Thanks to Mother Nature for the gorgeous colors. Please keep good intentions for Michael and Betsy Leon, and for Marge Holland and Angie and Harold Brummett. Mary. I have one of gratitude as well. My niece, who is 6, had her consecration ceremony into the Jewish church Friday night, and today she lost her first tooth. So she's had a very busy weekend. And last, but definitely not least, apparently it's Mr. Boker's birthday. Happy birthday. We won't sing. You look kind of. We're good. And finally, we drop a pebble into the water for all the grief, gratitude, and growth moments that remain unspoken. All we hold in our hearts for ourselves, for each other, and for the world is held in this community and by love that is limitless. Amen. Thank you. Our second reading today is actually by Steve Jobs, because I just liked it. He's the Apple guy, in case you don't know. Uh-oh. All right. Just one of those days. You cannot connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backward. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future. You have to trust in something, your gut, destiny, life, karma, whatever. This approach has never let me down, and it has made all the difference in my life. I thought that was brilliant. Our speaker today is Dr. Keith Anderson, PhD, MSW, is a professor and chair of the Department of Social Work at the University of Mississippi. Y'all might know where that is. His scholarship focuses on health and the well-being of older adults and their caregivers, with an emphasis on innovative home and community-based services. Dr. Anderson? There's a little water if you need.
Okay, yeah. Well, thanks for having me here. It's really nice I don't usually go to church, I have to admit that. But it feels really good. And I made my wife, I made my wife feel guilty too. And I said, I'm going to church. She was watching football. And I appreciate James inviting me out here today, and for all of you welcoming me. Today, I'm going to talk about purpose in life in much later life for the very old. And typically, as researchers, we categorize these folks as those who are 85 years old and older. And I'm going to start with a case study, and I'll end with an epilogue from that case study. The case study is drawn from my work as a social worker in a nursing home in Washington, D.C. And it focuses on one of my residents, Ruth, who I remember quite fondly. She used to say, I was 30 at the time, she used to say, Keith Anderson, if I was 70 years younger, and I would say, Ruth Marie, if I was 70 years older, we might be an item. So the case study, Ruth. Why am I still alive? This question was asked of me by Ruth, a 102-year-old nursing home resident who was blind and bedfast and had outlived most of her family and friends. At the time, I was a young novice social worker, and I found myself particularly challenged by this question. I struggled to draw an answer from my training and education, so I decided to just trust my instincts. I simply responded, to teach me. Ruth didn't speak, and I could tell that she was carefully processing this response. After a few moments, we moved on with our everyday conversation about old songs, sewing, sale prices, and the proper use of grammar, as she was seemingly satisfied with the fact that she still had a purpose in life. So purpose in life, from research standpoint, has been defined as having goals, aims, objectives, and a sense of directedness that gives your life meaning. Purpose in life has been viewed very much future-oriented. It's something you're looking forward to doing. It's a reason for doing something. Purpose in life, as most of us know, is related to better health, lower levels of morbidity, mortality, better cognitive functioning, and greater subjective well-being. So purpose in life is important for all of us. With few exceptions, researchers have found that purpose in life tends to decline in later life. And this is fairly universal, and there's reasons for that. There's losses from death, there's losses in roles, fewer opportunities to find purpose in life for a lot of folks, and generally reduced feelings of usefulness for a lot of folks. And this is what the research has found. My thought was, for someone like Ruth, who's 102 years old, are these future-oriented conceptualizations of purpose in life valid? Are we measuring this correctly? We come to these conclusions based upon measures that are used across the lifespan. So these same purpose in life measures are used for someone that's 25, 45, 65, or in Ruth's case, 102 years old. My life is very different now that I'm 60 than it was when I was 25 or when I was 45. And I imagine, God willing, if I live to be 85, my life will be very different there as well, and my purpose will be different. So my question was, are we measuring purpose in life accurately for this particular age group? So I looked at a couple of the measures. The most commonly used one is called the Purpose in Life test. And I selected some items from these, items that I thought may not pertain to someone in Ruth's situation. So one of the items is, after retiring, and these items are anchored by two extremes, and you answer based 1 to 7. So after retiring, I would 1, loaf completely for the rest of my life, or 7, do some of the exciting things I've always wanted to do. And again, Ruth is 102 years old. I don't know where she would fall on that. Another one, my life is 1, empty, filled only with despair, to 7, running over with exciting things. So if you say running over with exciting things, you have more purpose in life. And then another one was, my life is 1, out of my hands and controlled by external factors, indicating that you don't have much purpose in life, or 7, in my hands, and I'm in control of it. Very few people who are 102 years old feel like they're in total control of their life. So that's one of the measures that we've used. Another one is Riff's scales of well-being, under which is there's one purpose in life subscale. And a few of her items that I don't think are fully applicable to the oldest old. One was, I tend to focus on the present because the future nearly always brings me problems. Another one was, I don't have a good sense of what it is I'm trying to accomplish in life. And again, Ruth is 102 years old. So some of these items I don't think apply to her, and they may not even apply to me. So I thought maybe we should reconceptualize purpose in life for the oldest old. And I came up with 3 domains that I think are applicable. And they're not as future-oriented as our existing scales. So one domain would be the retrospective past. So these oldest old adults have a long life history to draw upon. And I think we find purpose in our past, in our accomplishment, and what we've done in our lives. So for me, I think if we add a measure to this, or an item to a new scale, it could be, during my life, I had purpose in the lives of others. I think a lot of us in the room can feel that way based upon our careers and our family life and what we've done in this world. So we find purpose in the past. And these are not items that are contained in the current measures that we use. Another is the near present. I found in the nursing home, particularly with people that were very old, that they found a lot of purpose in everyday activities. I'm going to get up, maybe I'll go to church today, or I'm gonna go to bingo and I'm gonna win, or I'm gonna play cards and I'm gonna win, things like that, or I'm gonna see my granddaughter this afternoon. So there's purpose in everyday life and some of those short horizons. So I really look forward to my granddaughter graduating from high school. That's my goal. It's gonna happen next month. So this near present is what I called it. And an item I think that could be added to a scale or in the creation of a new scale. I find purpose in my everyday accomplishments. I think that was important to a lot of the people in my nursing home, particularly people that had disabilities, and they took a lot of pride in maybe getting up in the morning and tucking in their shirt and going about their day. And then finally, this is future-oriented, but in a different way. This final domain I considered the transcendental post-mortem. So my thought is purpose in life in very late life may transcend the mortal confines of this life and include goals and aspirations for the post-mortem after you die. After I die, I'm going to see my mother. After I die, I'm going to see my wife or my husband of 50 years, or I'm going to meet my creator. A lot of us find purpose after death, I think. For other folks, they continue to have purpose in this world of a legacy that they've left behind, whether that's children or grandchildren, or maybe you gave $1 million to the university and your name's going to be on a building. I think we find purpose even after life ends. So these are the 3 things, the 3 domains that I conceptualized. And I think if we develop new measures that are specific to this age group, I think we're going to find that purpose in life doesn't necessarily decline for the oldest old. It's just contextually different. So I think we've been measuring it incorrectly. We may even be measuring it incorrectly based on some of these other age groups. 25 is different than 45, then 65, then 85, then 105. So, and this was published, I don't know why I selected this journal, but it was published in the Journal of Happiness Studies. And that really made me feel good. I had never published in that one before, but it just struck me that I wanted that on my CV. It made me feel good. So the epilogue to this story and this case study. So Ruth held many purposeful roles over the course of her long life: daughter, sister, wife, mother, friend, librarian, and teacher, among undoubtedly many more. Diabetes would eventually take away her sight and ultimately force her to move into the nursing home. Despite these limitations, Ruth was active and engaged, constantly reminiscing about her past, looking forward to the day at hand, and challenging my colleagues and me to keep up with her quick wit and active mind. She found purpose in her past, in her present, and in her future, and we found purpose in her presence. Ruth died almost 2 decades ago while I was in my doctoral studies. She donated her body to a local medical school, and she continues to have purpose to this day. And if there's time for questions, or if anyone has any thoughts on, Keith, I think you're on target on that, or I think you're way out in left field. I'm open to questions or comments or suggestions. Yes, sir.
So how do you approach someone, perhaps at any age, but especially, in later life, who has feelings of helplessness and hopelessness? Marty Seligman has talked a lot about learned helplessness.
Mm-hmm.
How do you see yourself maybe working with that individual?
Yeah, and I do a lot of work with older adults. So I think what I would probably do is explore their life with them to find out, to find areas that gave them purpose in the past, and then try to provide opportunities for purpose in the present. I think for a lot of older adults, they lack opportunity. They don't lack purpose. They lack opportunity to have purpose. So whether that's engaging with younger people, whether it's volunteering, whether it's coming to a congregation like this and sharing and meeting friends, passing down wisdom, reminiscing, I think opportunity is the key. Learn about the person, and then person-centered opportunity. Yes, ma'am.
Can we see purpose as something that's internally generated and respected, or externally figured out like
Gosh, I think it's maybe as you get older in life, it's more internally generated. Maybe when you're younger in life, it's a little, you're driven by other forces. But I think in later life, it feels like I want to do what I want to do and find purpose in that. So for me, it's more internal, I think, for these older adults. And they do find purpose in smaller things that I think that we take for granted when we're younger. So it could be something like my garden this year. That's my purpose. And it really makes me feel good. And I can, if anyone needs or wants a copy of the article, I can send that out as well. My only warning is don't operate heavy machinery while you're reading it. It could cause drowsiness.
So I'm interested to know how much you should push a person who, how deep do you delve to figure out how to get the person to the next step, I guess. People who are older and who think, life is behind them.
Yeah, I really think it's got to be person-centered, where you learn about that person, what gave them purpose in the past, and provide them with opportunities. I think naturally there is so much loss in later life in terms of roles, and also death and ability and things of that nature, that you're going to find some folks that are in despair. But I think provide them with opportunity. Failure-free opportunity is really important as well, and be creative with it as well, I think.
And it's hard to find that line that you're not pushing past what a person can actually do. That's really, I find, Like, it's a really tricky situation sometimes, so that you're not just saying, oh, it's all right, that you weren't able to do that. And
Yeah.
maybe that should come, I don't know, but I find it to be tricky.
Yeah, it is difficult. I think you open doors for people. Whether or not they go through that door is largely up to them, but encourage them and welcome them through that door as best you can. Yes, sir.
Do you think that having a person believe in themselves and their ability to do things has a great impact on their life?
Yeah, that sense of self-efficacy that I can do this. I think sometimes in later life, when there is disability and things like that, we tend to lose a little bit of confidence. So again, providing those failure-free opportunities for people is really, really important, and giving them something to care about, whether that's a pet or a garden or another person. I think in general, we need to care about something, or we need to care about others. There's an innate drive in us to care. So, I think that gives us purpose as well. Yeah.
I imagine most of your research and work has been in the American context, but I'm curious if you've thought anecdotally or experienced anything with aging in other cultures, and if there's lessons from how that works anywhere else besides here,
Yeah.
or even in sub communities, I suppose, in the United States.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think in certain communities, older adults are held in very high esteem, and they have a purpose beyond working or generating income or whatever the case might be. Elders are far more respected in certain cultures, so I think that gives them purpose. This was really interesting. It was an African community where they look at people with dementia as having magical powers. So these people that, in Western culture, I don't think we view people that way, but they saw these people with dementia as almost like shamans. Let's go ask her. She's in touch with the spirits. So I think in other cultures, it's probably different. But in Western culture, where productivity is so highly valued, when we lose that productivity, I think purpose also takes a hit.
Tuesday is Veterans Day, and I personally feel indebted to every veteran or every family that supports a veteran. And I personally benefit immensely by acknowledging that and going to for example, going to the Veterans Day services that are held locally. So I think we should encourage each other to somehow acknowledge Veterans Day, because one can go to those occasions and just see the emotion that is felt by family members and individuals who have supported this country in a variety of ways. So I think an opportunity is on the horizon for us to acknowledge the sacrifice that families and individuals have made. So I hereby encourage people to go to a Veterans Day occasion, which will certainly make you want to cry.
Yeah.
I just want to acknowledge that we have one of those people here who is older, and you're seeing right in front of you. Now this is Mary Caha, and
She's so young.
Yeah.
not a veteran, but an active person in our community who definitely is well past the age of 85.
Well, I might make a few remarks. I am enjoying life. I can do now what I want to do within physical limits, of course. So I'm having fun with life. However, I know that I'm not going to be here forever. And my house is a mess. And I have all this accumulated stuff from 80 years at least to deal with, so that my poor daughter will not have to deal with it. And also, my cousin, my dear, dear, dear cousin, died last year, and she had planned her her funeral down to the nth detail. And I need to start thinking about that too. So that's kind of weighing on me. But I've been thinking what you were thinking too. Why am I here?
Yeah.
Why am I here still, you know? And I have a gay grandson, and his parents are in denial. So somebody mentioned that that may be why I'm here, safe haven for him. Maybe there's some other reasons I'm not aware of, but anyway,
Yeah.
thank you for your address.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I think your presence here today is purpose as well. Yeah.
That's what happens when you have your 90th birthday celebrated.
Mary's a gift.
She pretends that she has 2 or 3 birthdays. Her purpose is to confuse you. Because, she has a real birthday, and half of the year is another birthday. She's kind of listen.
I have a question about assisted living facilities. Are they in general aware of the importance of giving purpose to the residents, and do they have ways to do that? And if you were going to recommend a program or something they could do, is there something you would recommend for assisted living homes?
Yeah, assisted living's all over the chart. You have some assisted livings that are advanced and I think provide excellent care to people and provide community, and you have others that are really just housing people. I think the best ways to approach this again is person-centered care. Find out who the person is. I've done studies in the past, and this was in nursing home with nursing home personnel. I think it was 50% of the frontline nursing staff didn't know what their residents had done for a living, didn't know if they had children, didn't know where they were from. And it's impossible to take care of a person if you don't know that person. And I was thinking, what do you talk about when you're helping this person? Do you ever say, Mrs. Smith, what did you do for a living? But they're so focused on getting to the next patient, and they have a really hard job as well. But I think something like a reminiscence program is really a good way to get to know somebody. So reminiscence is key. Educating staff on who that person is and their past roles and different aspects of their life, what their life story was, and then what are their interests, and then provide them with opportunities to pursue those interests is key. You have to know the person. That's the foundation of care, I think.
Do you have any way of rating these retirement homes and nursing homes? A checklist or something like that?
Yeah,
I'd be interested in seeing something like that. One never knows.
I think, Medicare.gov, I think, has a website where they put stars next to nursing homes and assisted livings. If anyone's ever considering moving into one or having a family member move into one, I would suggest you visit and talk to some of the people who live there, find out what their experiences are, and don't get stars in your eyes when you see a grand piano. That doesn't contribute to the care. It's about the people that are caring for you. There are those ratings, I think, but also check around with people that are there and people who work there and people who live there.
One of the problems I understand is that the lack of proper pay for the staff.
Yeah.
My husband was in the veterans home, and he had a terrible incident in his life there.
Yeah.
And so that should be something that you look at
Yeah.
when you're choosing a nursing home, but is there a way to do that?
I don't know if you can determine how staff are compensated, but you're right. It's a challenge to get good workers because the work is really hard and the pay is not very high. And if you can make $15 stocking shelves somewhere, you're probably going to do that more than maybe work in a nursing home, unless you have a calling. I've done work on burnout and turnover in nursing homes, and it's a number of factors. It's pay, it's the work. For some people, what keeps them going is a spiritual calling. This is God's work, and that's why I'm here. And and I have a purpose. I'm making a difference in the lives of these people. But you're right. In this country, at least, we say we value children and we say we value older adults, but we don't pay people to take care of the most valuable things in our lives. So it's problematic. Yeah.
Dan's mom was in assisted living when she was very old. And the way that she lived helped the entire facility because she was a wonderful artist. And anyone who walked by, she would say, "Let me do a painting of you." And so the people there loved being with her, and the staff loved being with her. She did paintings for them to take to their children. So I think that being in assisted living, you have to find also what can you offer, which makes everything better. I hope to help people dance when I'm in assisted living, because that's what I do, and I'll always remember how, and also singing.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to look for what's important to each person who is there.
Yeah, I agree. And finding maybe new purpose in your life when you move into a facility. What can I do to help this community? And all of us are capable in some way of giving back to others and making the community stronger. And that's certainly a sense of purpose there. Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay, I have to tell you one funny story about my mother in assisted living. So my mother, we put her in assisted living. Actually, she asked to go. It wasn't a fight. She said, "I think it's time." After I yelled at her for almost burning the house down. So we put her in assisted living at, it was Azalea at the time. And an important thing to check out with assisted living is talk to the activities director and ask what kind of activities they provide. So my mother had never played, to my knowledge, bingo, but she became obsessed with bingo. And she would call me and I'm like, "Do you need anything?" She's like, "Bring me some ones." I'm like, "Okay." So I take her a stack of ones. And then I'm at a party one night and one of my friends walks up to me and she heard me saying something about my mom going to assisted living. She said, "Is your mother at Azalea?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "That's what I thought." She said, "My grandmother was the bingo queen." Her grandmother was 100 years old, and apparently she won bingo every week somehow until my mother showed up. So they had their grandmother over for lunch one day, and all she could talk about was this young girl, 84, this young girl that had showed up and kept beating her at bingo. And I would be like, I said, "That's my mom. Yeah, that's my mom."
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. So I'd like to close with a little meditation, just to sit with this message we've heard today for a moment and reflect on our own memories and our own purpose. Memories of when you were a child or when your child was born, what you wanted to be when you grew up, how different that is from the person you turned out being. what you wanted your child to be when they grow up and how different that turned out to be. Thoughts of when you suffered and when it made you grow emotionally. Memories of falling in love or losing someone. We all have good memories and bad memories, and we grow from both kinds. The ones that we focus on are the ones that shape our lives and help us determine our purpose, whether they be the good ones or the bad ones. The things that happen to us in our life sometimes mark our careers and make us decide what we want to be when we grow up. But think about how your life has changed over the past 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years, and where you see yourself heading in the future. Now we will release our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of the truth, the warmth of the community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Our closing hymn is number 414, again, a new one. Yeah. 414. Twice, yes. Yeah, play. Blessing is go in peace, believe in peace, create peace, and be peace. Please say it with me now. Go in peace, believe in peace, create peace, be peace. Please join us for treats and coffee. And quick question, does everybody know how to get to the calendar through the website?
Yes.
So if you go to UU Oxford, the website, there's a link for the calendar, and I'll update all that stuff I said in the beginning and put it on there. Yeah, uuoxford.org.
And isn't a Google calendar that you?
It is a Google calendar, yes.
Because it comes into my calendar.
Yeah, you can pull it into your own calendar, that's correct.
We're on it everywhere.
All right, thanks, guys.
T-shirt.
Yeah.
You want us to do that? Okay, yeah, that'll.